Well, shalom aleichem, and welcome back to Reading Hebrew Grammar. We are reading through the story of Joseph as we are walking through our Hebrew grammar through implicit learning and elaborative encoding. We simply are just pointing out a little bit of the stuff that you're learning in the Hebrew textbook as we read along, but our principal concern is for you to read the language. Read the language. Now, I'm not giving you all of the clues and things. As you notice at the beginning of each one of these exercises, it says for you to cut these different things off, circle these different things, do X, Y, and Z. Please do that in your textbook as you walk through that. But in these videos, I'm just simply reading for you so that way hopefully you can read it and hear God's word. In my strange pronunciation, I'm certain it's strange for some of y'all. Nevertheless, let's jump into it. And so the principle that we're talking about in this lesson is the Joseph principle. The Joseph principle. Now, we're not referring to Joseph as the person whenever we say principle, but rather what his name means. Joseph means to add, to add. And so in this principle, what you're looking for as you read through it, let me just go up here and show you the, there you go, right there. Joseph principle, the power of the pronouns. There we go. What you're looking for is what has been added to these words. Now, again, we've discussed this at length at other points in time in our text, but Hebrew is what we call a synthetic language. Okay, a synthetic language. A synthetic language means that words will, for lack of better terms, want to magnetize together. And so what could be optically one word in Hebrew could make for an entire sentence in English. Nevertheless, that's one of the reasons why I think I desperately struggled as I was learning Hebrew, and why some people struggle to read it, because we as English readers, or if you read other Latin-based languages, you tend to think of individual words, whereas Hebrew tends to shove it all together and say, here's one word that gives an entire phrase. And so that's really difficult for our minds to wrap around. What we're looking at in regards to the Joseph principle is pronoun endings that have magnetized, because it's a synthetic language, magnetized onto other words in our Hebrew text. So as we go through it, I have some of these that are highlighted in black, I should say underlined in black, so that you might see these pronoun endings that have been added. If there's something else that we encounter that I feel like we should discuss, we'll discuss it. But I always tell my students, go ahead and jump in and cut the Hey Abimelech letters off. So the Vav, the Bates, the Hays, the Lames, the Kofs, the Mames. Cut those off at the beginning. And now what you're going to start doing is you're going to start, for lack of better terms, cutting off the pronoun endings that get added onto other things. That way then you can go and look these words up in your Hebrew dictionary / lexicon. So why don't we read our text, and I'll highlight along. Again, you'll notice there's fewer and fewer English words. More of the English words are disappearing as we're going through it. And that is because we are utilizing the Hamiltonian reading method. And so as you learn your Hebrew verbs, Hebrew words, you will quickly see them disappear in the text that we are reading. That way you are forcing your brain to utilize what you have memorized in the textbook. So let's jump into it. Verse 17 of Genesis 42, we're back at the story of Joseph and his brothers, and him trying to concoct a family reunion in this text, all right? So we have here at the very beginning, Vayi Esaf Otam El Mishmar Shloshet Yamim. What we see here at the very, I want us to grab this here. What we see in this word, the second word is what I'm looking at in particular, okay, is the word otam. This is actually two different words that have magnetized together. The first word is et. That's your direct object marker, as you would know, and my students are required to put a question mark above the direct object marker. Who or what is the question that we would ask. But then this meme on the back side is actually the remainder of the pronoun marker haim. Haim. The pronoun marker haim is them. Them. So who or what? Them. So these two small two-letter words magnetize together, And as is quite common, the hay ran away because, well, just like Jonah, it's part of his name. And hay ran away from this text. Thus, we have Otam left here before us. Let's jump in and just continue reading in verse 18. We might find more fun stuff to talk about as we continue in our text. And so it reads something along these lines, Voyamer Elihaim. Again, this is your haim from above, and that's why I have the arrow drawn there. So you see, it's the same pronoun marker. Elihaim Yosef Vayom Hasholishi Zot Ashu Vahayu Et Halomim Ani Yara. Okay, verse 19. Im Kanim Atam. Okay, again, this is the same thing that happened up there, is now happening down here. It's a et and it's a haim. The hay ran away at a time. Achikaim. Kaim is another ending of our pronoun markers. Echad. Mi shmarkaim. Again, this should actually be underlined in black because that's a pronoun ending. So mishmar came, ve'etem lo leku haviu shavar ra'avon. I'm sorry, I'm not highlighting as I read through this. Apologies. Ra'avon bat came. And again, this should be also underlined here because that is a pronoun ending. Okay, verse 20. Reads like such. Va'et achikaim hakaton tavi'u eli ve'yamarnu devari came ve'lo tamotu va'yashu came. And so now we're getting confirmation of the younger brothers and all of these different types of things coming forth in our story. 21. Vayamaru ish el achiv achol ashmi anachnu al ahinu asher ra'inu zarat nafashol, sorry, be hit haninu. This is one of those hit piles that we had discussed in our last lesson. Okay. Elinu velo shmanu al kain ba'a. Elinu hazora zoot. Okay. 22. Vaya'an Ruvain. And so Reuben's now seeing and answering, okay? Otam, le amar chalo, amarti Elohim, le amar el, ti chet u, bayalad velo, shmatem vegam damo, hine, ni dorash. Carry on in 23. Vehem lo yadu ki shma Yosef ki ha militz bein otam ve yisov me'alechem vayavach vayashav elechem vayadvar elichem vayachach me etam et Shimun, Simon, or Simeon, probably. Vayesor oto le enichem. Straightforward as we're going through this. 25. Vayitzu Yosef. Vayamelahu et kilachem ish el shahu. Veletat. Okay, this is In this instance, it's probably going to be Natan. So the noons ran away in this instance. Lehem zada le derech ve ya'ash lehem kain. We're going to continue down one more verse, or two more verses, apologies, and then we'll pick this up in the next video. Vayishma'u et shmaram al hamorihem vayalach u misham. Vayafat hach ha-echad et shachol letet mishpo le-chamoro ba'melon vayara et kasafo vehinehu befi amtachto. All right, and so as you look through the text that we've read so far, you'll see all of these different black underlined sections, and these are the pronoun markers. Again, pronoun is a shortened way of saying him, them, he, you, me, we, and so you have to pay attention to all these different markers so that you're able to see them and able to break down the Hebrew passage as you read it, because one word in Hebrew might be multiple words in English. This is our text for the day. We'll pick it up again, and we'll continue there in verse 28 in our next video. See you soon.